I was supposed to went to St. Charles and did 4 months and came home. But when I went to St. Charles, I wound up doing almost 2 years there because I was gang banging. I was
Hmm.
gang banging hard.
Wow. And the crazy thing is that you were so young when all of this was going on. Like, I knew what gang I wanted to be in at a particular age when I was young. We
Mhm.
just didn't have nobody to fight like that because I came from a place called No Love City, and it was a
Okay.
lot of the guys. So we used to just fight guys on the next block and all of that type of stuff. Nothing really gang banging about it, just block fights. You know what I'm saying? So you was out there real deal gang banging
Yeah, I
at
was
that
gang
young
banging.
age.
Yeah, I was gang banging, really gang banging. It all changed when my partner got killed, and that was in 1980. Bug got killed May 24th. He got killed on King David birthday, 1980. And when Junebug got killed, everything changed. It was like everything changed then. It just got deadlier. Drugs start infiltrating the neighborhood, and it was on then. It was on. I wind up going to prison in 1985. That's when I wind up in Stateville. I wind up in Stateville in 1986. That's when Mr. Larry Hoover, Lil John, Biggie, Panama, Gov, Fatty, Raheem, G Sharp. Everybody was there. Good Ty Lucky. Everybody was there, man. I'm talking about everybody with the exception of a few of them. Dee wasn't there, and Tony wasn't there. Sundown was there. Don Smokey was there. Everybody was there then when I went to Stateville. When I wind up in Stateville. Matter of fact, Jimmy D was there with me at the same time too.
You mentioned that you were supposed to have been locked up for a few months and ended up getting 2 years from gang banging. What was that case, and why did you get extra time like that?
I was locked up for possession of a stolen motor vehicle. So at the time they still had in juvenile they had juvenile parole board. So you had to go to the parole board in order to get out. Every time I stayed locked up in segregation. I stayed getting shots or tickets, disciplinary reports. I don't know. I didn't have no type of guidance really. If you really look at it, it's like I was a youngster, and me and my other partners, we all was banding together. We was like a pack of wolves. So we didn't care about being in jail because we was cool being around each other. So, but when I finally got out, then I wound up catching another case and going to Stateville.
They got rid of the juvenile parole system, or is that still in?
I don't even know if it's still in. I don't know if it's still in existence or not. But I know when I went through there, we had to go to the parole board in order to get out. I don't know if it's still in existence today. I can't speak on it. I ain't been there since I got out. Once I got out in 83, I think beginning of 83, I ain't been back. I haven't been back to the juvenile system. I was in St. Charles, Hannah City. Those were the two that I was in. I started out in Hannah City. Hannah City was right outside of Peoria. Then from Hannah City, I got transferred out of Hannah City for disciplinary reason. That's where me and Big Snake and all us was there, all the guys from the Hunters. That's where I met a lot of the guys there. A lot of the guys that I knew from Chicago, that was from the low end, the Greens, up north, out west. I met a lot of these guys right there in the juvenile system. So uh, once I got up in there, it was like, okay, man, we on, it's on. We partners. That's what it is. We gonna make it work, and we gonna do what we gonna do. We gonna protect each other, and we gonna hurt whoever we gotta hurt. It didn't matter to us. That's just how we was young. We ain't understand nothing.
Right. How was the juvenile system back in the 80s, man? What was the craziest things you were seeing going on in that system?
Same thing that you wind up seeing in an adult system, man. You still had guys that was running around up and then indulging in robberies. You had guys that was indulging in just smoking weed, and guys indulging and messing around with homosexual, because you still had young boys in there 12, 13 years old running around talking about they gay. What the hell wrong with you, boy? You know what I'm saying? So you still the same thing that was going on in the adult system is the same thing that was going on in the juvenile system. And once I started going to the adult system, I was seeing the same people that was in the juvenile system with me.
You get out the juvenile system. How long was you out before you went into the adult system?
Almost, I got out, I think, like February of '83. And like January of '85, I wind up catching another possession of a stolen motor vehicle. Boom. So I wind up going to the Cook County Jail. I was supposed to do I had 3.5 years. I think I was supposed to do like when I went down, I think I was supposed to did like 14, 15 months because I had stayed in the jail like 6 months. So I think I had like 15 months to do. And I wind up doing the whole 3.5 years. I did the whole bit. The whole 3.5 years that I had, I did it in Stateville. I did the whole time. Now I started out in Joliet, in the West House of Joliet. And we had a riot against the administration. We had a riot against the police in the West House. This was in March of '86. We whooped the police. They wind up sending me to Stateville. And by that time, I had lost all my good time, so I ain't have no good time. So when I got to Stateville, I'm just doing my time. That's where I met the Bo Dillies and the Little Johns and all that. That's where I met everybody. That's when I started getting my teachings. That's when things start coming in perspective for me to let me know that what I was doing was bogus, that it wasn't about that. That's when I started receiving the true teachings of what this organization was about.
Right. So before you made it to the penitentiary, you had to go to the Cook County Jail, right?
Yep.
When I was young, man, I first went to the Cook County Jail, I remember telling myself, like, I'm finally made it to the county. I'm making it to the county. I'm on my way in there. You know, I don't know what to really expect. All I know is the stories, man. How did you feel when you first landed in Cook County Jail?
It was honestly, bro. It was like all the peoples who was calling the shots in the neighborhoods, right? A lot of the people that was calling the shots in our neighborhoods, they was in the Cook County Jail. So I knew a lot of them. So when I got there, it was like, okay, I'm seeing the same peoples that I was in St. Charles with. I'm seeing the same peoples that I was in that I see on the streets. So once again, this prior to me getting to Stateville, we in that Cook County Jail and we buck wild. People was taking time to get out of the county jail because the county jail was that wild. Cook County Jail was that wild, bro. They said, man, guys was like, man, I'd rather be in prison to be up in here. So, but once I finally made it out of the county jail, excuse me, then I went to Stateville. Went to Joliet, and from Joliet to Stateville, I was seeing the same peoples. We all had time.
Was it wilder in the county jail than it was in prison system?
Yes, because the prison system was more dangerous. The county jail was more wild because there was really no it was structure there. And you had people that was running things, but we was buck wild. You talking about being in the House of Correction, Division 2, then going over to Division 4. You know what I'm saying? Then before you left, you got to go over to Division 1. Once you made it to Division 1, Division 1 was preparing you to get to prison. So you start every step along the way, you were starting to get a little bit more. So it was the prison system was dangerous because if they told you to you going up in that prison system, now you're dealing with grown men who got a lot of time, it's a lot of things going on. You're gonna get up in here, you're gonna fit in structure. If you don't fit in structure, we're gonna deal with you. If you think you bad, we got somebody for every size and every age group in the prison system.
Right. You know, I was in Division 1, you know, they called it the El Capone Suite, the oldest division that was in Cook County Jail. And it was kind of like prison. You know, the guards walked around. They walked around and they can see through the cells, through the walkways and shit like that.
Right.
All right. So you make it to the penitentiary, you start meeting all of these people, start fitting right in. How did you end up in the feds?
All right. When I made it, when I made it to the penitentiary in 85, I got out in 88. Then I caught a case. I caught a whole bunch of cases. I was picked up for murder, home invasions, kidnappings, torture, armed robberies, temp murders, and I wind up getting 30 years in the state of Illinois. So this that second prison bit where I got the 30 years. Once I got that 30 years, that's when I was all basically all over the state of Illinois at that time. Because I got a 30-year prison system. I did 15 years, 2 months, and 15 days. Once I got out the prison system in 2005, I moved to Kentucky. Come down to Kentucky, start selling drugs. Wind up catching a federal drug conspiracy case. Me and my co-defendant, who was my girl at the time, well, we wind up catching a federal case. When they picked her up, they picked me up. And now when they picked me up, they grabbed her too. And the reason they grabbed her is because me talking on the phone to somebody and her name was mentioned. I mentioned her name to go to serve somebody. And that's what grabbed her. They didn't want her. They wanted me. So she wound up getting 3 years probation. She stood down, 10 toes down. Deanna, wherever you at, sister, much love, much peace to you for that. She stood 10 toes down, didn't open her mouth, wanted me to go to trial. I told her I can't go no trial. I'm dead in the water. So I got 15 years. I got 15 years for the drugs. I got 15 years for being an armed career criminal. And I got 15 years for being a career offender. So I was both an armed career criminal and a career offender. So I wind up with a 15-year prison system and a 15-year prison sentence, and I wind up doing 13 years off that 15 years.
How many years in total that you do in the prison system?
33.
Majority of your life?
The majority of my life has been inside a prison cell.
All right, so you started learning knowledge when you made it to the prison system?
I already knew some of the literature, some of the things that was going on, but I didn't really understand it. I could recite it because it was easy for me to learn stuff. So I could recite it, because actually I'm a bookworm. I'm a nerd because I love to read. I love to study. I love all that. But I also had that other side of me where I'm like, man, I'm in these streets. So it was easy for me to learn it. But then once I got to the prison system, that's when they started breaking it down. That's when I started getting my understanding of it. Being around the Bo Dillies and the Lil Johns and all, and just being around them, hanging around them, listening to them, and getting the game, the Panamas and everybody getting that game, the G Sharps and the Sundowns, and just getting it, the Larry Hoovers and the Melvin Haywoods, may he rest in peace, and all of them, because I grabbed a piece of all of them and took it and made it for me, to make me, So yes, that's where I really started getting my understanding of the organizations, is when I got inside of Stateville.
And you did meet Larry Hoover?
Yeah, I was in Larry was in E house. I was in F house, and I met Larry in the library. I had never seen Larry before in my life. I had never seen a picture of him. I didn't know who he was. So we was in the law library. We had to watch the Attica prison ride documentary. So Larry knew who I was. Everybody, because I was the new kid on the block. When I first made it to Stateville, Bo Dilly and them had been hearing about all the wild and radical stuff that we was doing in Joliet. So the first thing he asked me when I got to Stateville was I a wild radical? Quite naturally, I lied. I'm like, no, I'm about the business. You know what I'm saying? So I'm lying. So when I got in the law library, we lining up because we used to line up in deuces for security purposes. This was back in the 80s. So when I'm lining up, Larry is in front of me. Larry got out the line, and when somebody get out of the line, you got to step up. So he got out. Mind you, I don't even know who this man is. He got out the line. I step up. He come back and get in the line, so I step back. Everybody know who he is except me. I step back. He get out the line again. I step up. Then he come back. He say, hey, bro, you trying to butt me? I'm like, here he go with this false this want to be tough bravado. Man, no, I ain't trying to butt you, bro. If you gonna get in line, go on and get in line. If you ain't gonna get in line, go on and move around so I can move up. One of the folks that was standing next to me was Shorty Smooth, was like, man, you know who that is? I'm like, no, who is that? He said, man, that's the old man. Boy, my knees started chattering. I got scared as hell, but I didn't, everybody laughing at me. You know what I'm saying? Because they know I don't know who he is. They know it. Lil John and everybody laughing.
What type of guy was Hoover, man?
Hoover, I ain't gonna say was Hoover. Hoover's still alive. Mr. Hoover's still alive. So Mr. Hoover is one of the most down to earth and understanding and peaceful brothers that you ever gonna meet. I think, and I know it, that the government and society and the news media and everybody, they get a brother a bad rap, not based on what he's doing, but based on what people's like I was doing. You know, my actions, my behavior, my attitude is the reason why Mr. Larry Hoover was getting the bad rap that he's getting, the bad rap that he's getting today.
So you really think that the actions of others are keeping Mr. Hoover behind bars?
Most definitely at this point, yeah, because he's a political prisoner. Yes, at this particular point, yes, because they know this here. They always have a reason. They can always point to a false narrative, this reason, in order to keep him in there. See there, they still celebrating his birthday. See there, they still putting these 6-point stars up saying about him. See there, they still doing this here. They still saying this here about Mr. Hoover. They still saying this, they still saying it. They use that, bro. They use that to show as though he still has some type of control over people's out here in the street. Mr. Hoover don't have no control over nobody. That man been gone 50 years. That man he's 73 years old, just turned 73. Matter of fact, I got my GED on his birthday. I received my GED November the 30th, 20. I received my GED November the 30th, 1987 in Stateville. That's when I got my GED, on his birthday in 1987. So yes, I still say that our actions, behavior, and attitude is keeping him in prison, because that's what the government and those who don't want him out, that's what they use.